Will Tesla become the next trillion-dollar company? Antonio Gracias from Valor Equity Partners and previously a Tesla board of director from 2007 to 2021 believes so. We're going to watch an interview he did last month where he explains Tesla's full self-driving and advancements in humanoid bots will, in just a year or two, be finally seen by investors as the holy grail. We have Larry Goldberg joining us. He's a multi-entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thanks. Great to be here.
So you've had quite the week, and we're going to be talking about what you just saw with Starship because it's part of the story and the video what we're going to cover today. Let's start off with Antonio. So he was interviewed recently, and he was asked the question, what will be the next trillion-dollar public company? We're going to listen to that video, and we're going to listen to what he says about it. Let's go ahead and do that.
Foundation model company, and you are not attached to a major internet platform for distribution and reinforcement learning, and you don't have proprietary data, your value is going to asymptote to zero very quickly. But if you're a foundation model company attached to a giant internet platform with proprietary data, I think you're going to be immensely valuable. There are only a few of these. There's Google, but it's already a multi-trillion-dollar company. There's Microsoft and OpenAI, multi-trillion-dollar plus 90 billion. And Meta is chosen to make their AI available for free, open source. The only one left is xAI. And I submit to you with, I think it's a reasonably high confidence hypothesis that the sum of xAI and X will be worth more than $1 trillion because it has some of the most valuable proprietary data in the world for training these models and a lot of distribution to help them learn. As far as a public company?
I agree with you, Gavin, by the way. Yes. Public company, at the risk of being accused of bias, and I have a large position in this company, so I'll say that up front. I think Tesla will be the next public company you see, has joined our enterprise value for artificial intelligence as an AI company, not as an EV company, or a mobility company, but as an AI company, because people underestimate the impact of FSD version 12. When you use this product, you will see it drives like a human, and that will blow you away. And then at some point, you've seen videos of Optimus, and I think people sort of, they undervalue or don't believe quite what's happening with Optimus when you see the videos, but I've actually seen the robot itself operate. It is extraordinary. And imagine when you have, the most complex thing a human does is drive a car. So we have a model at Tesla that knows how to drive a car and does that well like a human. You have a robot that operates like a human. You put those things together, you get a humanoid-style robot that then you can deploy in a factory and get reinforcement learning. So that lock-in between data moat, which is unassailable, by the way, Tesla's unassailable data moat in humans driving a car, plus the lock-in of a robot working in a factory, doing all the things we do in a factory, right? What's the torque on the bolt? How do I not run into Gavin while I'm walking by him? Where's the bathroom? Whatever robots do, right? Those things are going to inform our training data by reinforcement learning of the robot itself. That will blow people away. And I think you'll see that, I don't know exactly when, but let's say in the next year or two, this will become more obvious, and it will accelerate the company. People will really see it as an AI company, which is what it is.
Well, Larry, so this was actually an interview that was done a month ago, and there's a tremendous amount of advancements in just the last few weeks here. What's your thoughts, Larry?
Yeah, we're going to see a breakout, of the robot. We're seeing a breakout of FSD actually happening before our eyes right now. We're going to see a breakout of Optimus. It's going to happen within the next year. Look, Antonio Gracias is one of them. That he stepped down from the board really bothered me because he brings so much of practical experience on the shop floor. I mean, he was the director that backed up Elon's production know-how and skills. And when there was production hell, Elon lent on Antonio. So Antonio really, really understands Tesla very deeply. And the point he's making there is that the world we're about to move into is really dependent upon excellent data at a high level of applicability. And so when you have Tesla with its enormous driving experience and library of driving experience that is peerless, and it just is going to be very difficult for anybody to catch up, let alone to actually get beyond them. He understands the value at Tesla, and he understands the value at Twitter. A lot of people said, oh, Elon's lost all this money on Twitter. He's going to lose his boots on Twitter and blah, 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 blah. Twitter is a very, very valuable asset, far in excess of what Elon paid for it. And Antonio understands it, and he understands the value connection between those two companies. And, this XAI that's sitting, between them or alongside them. So when Antonio Gracias tells you that the company is going to be worth more than $1 trillion, believe him, because the guy has got a lot of miles under him in those fields.
Right. And then what's your thought about the unassailable data moat, which is especially with the reinforcement learning, right? So his points, which is Tesla has what 5.5 million cars out there. They all have cameras. You got 400,000 beta users. They've now got neural net FSD that is just progressing like incredible progress. But it's like the data moat, the continuous reinforcement learning that they're getting that no other car company can get. But it makes even more sense in the bot. The more bots you can manufacture and scale, the more they're physically out there. They will all learn very quickly, exponentially, how to. One learns how to torque a bolt, the rest do, and reinforcement learning. What was your thoughts about that potential as a lead? And that's why he thinks Tesla is going to be the next $1 trillion company.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the interplay between XAI, Tesla, XAI, and in Tesla, the bot and the car, which you aptly point out. Look, it's not that they have 400,000 users of the beta version of FSD. They have millions of cars gathering data all the time. And I'll point out to you, we're in just about April of 2024. At April 2024, Tesla projected it would have the 5th largest supercomputer in the world. And they're on this curve to an enormous, they have the equivalent of 100,000 A100 GPUs right now at this point. And they're going to double that and triple that and quadruple that by the end of this year. So not only have they got this massive data, but they have this massive compute power. And it's an unassailable lead in FSD. Now, in robotics, they're up against competition, which is really good because they're going to be pressed very, very hard. They've got the value add of this experience in FSD. They've got the value add of all this manufacturing, engineering and manufacturing capability, and they've done a huge amount of engineering already on the bot. And they have outstanding processor and battery experience. So I think we're going to see them being an incredibly strong player in one of the largest markets in the world. I mean, when you talk about, total addressable market for the bot, you are talking in the trillions. There's no doubt about it. And they're going to be a major player. There are going to be quite a few players and quite a few successful players. And there's going to be some specialization. But Tesla have got they're sitting on such an advantageous position with the background in FSD, the knowledge they have in terms of AI, the incredible efficiency of their R&D. That's something very few people talk about. Look, they spend less than $4 billion a year on their AI FSD. That's a fraction of what many of these other companies are spending, and at an enormous rate of speed. And yet they're able to deliver FSD, they're able to deliver Grok. It's incredible the efficiency of their manufacturing, of their engineering, the engineering R&D, and their compute R&D, the AI R&D. Couple that together, and you've got an incredibly potent situation.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's just when you think about it, where we are today is pretty incredible because we've now seen FSDs improving to the point where most people are seeing that this is going to solve it. And the data is what's important, and they've got the data, and they've got the right business model. And meaning to say that they don't have to sell this; they're already selling it. People are already paying for it. And so you were talking about the R&D dollars, but it's actually even the opposite, which is they're actually getting revenue now.
Yeah.
And they can increase that revenue. I don't know any other company has figured this out, right? What a brilliant model.
Yeah, and I think I've critiqued the revenue model for FSD. I really think they're charging too much for FSD. I think their opportunity to go wide, they should have some kind of holiday vacation on their very high priced FSD. They should, they can say, look, we wanted to inhibit everybody and we can give some special consideration for the people who paid. Like I bought 4 copies of FSD now, actually, with my Cybertruck. I'm getting my Cybertruck the next week. That's 4 copies of FSD I've ordered, and I end up with 2 cars. 4, yeah. So my judgment call is that FSD should be priced in and around the $4,000 mark in its beta form, and it should be pitched at about under $100, not that far under $100, but under $100 a month on a monthly basis. And we would get an extra 1 million people on that program very, very quickly. And FSD in its current form is so valuable. I mean, I just drove 3,500 miles to and from the launch, and it's an incredibly valuable asset, feature to have in a car in its current form.
In its current form. And so now you think about where FSD is going, even getting much better. And then you've got the lower price, maybe if they do that, and it's way over 50% uptake is what you'll see. So let's take a look at, what Elon has accomplished in just the last couple of weeks here. Sawyer wrote this up, and he said this: in the last few weeks, Tesla released its biggest leap and most positively reviews beta of FSD version 12.3. SpaceX successfully launched Starship, the largest flying object ever put into space, achieving many, many major mission objectives. And you were physically there to actually experience this.
Experience. It was incredible. I mean, Herbert, you have to go and see this. It's incredible. You begin to realize what they've put into this. And actually, I have a little piece that I'm going to post tomorrow, and it's all about the incredible development at Boca Chica. That Boca Chica has turned into a massive factory. It's a city. It's a factory city.
Yeah.
Just to manufacture Starship. Amazing. Just amazing.
Well, you drove FSD to get to here.
Version 11X. Version 11X.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, I don't think I drove for 5 minutes. I don't think I drove 5 minutes of the, the whole week I was away.
Okay, awesome. And then in addition to those 2 things, in this week, yesterday, Neuralink, they did a demo featuring the first person with complete quadriplegia using a brain chip to control a computer and play video games solely through their thoughts.
It just became intuitive for me to start imagining the cursor moving. Basically, it was like using the force on a cursor, and I could get it to move wherever I wanted. Just stare somewhere in the screen, and it would move where I wanted it to, which was such a wild.
That is wild. I mean, Neuralink, right?
How can you not love that?
And now he's a quadriplegic, but he can easily control a cursor. He can now play games. He can control, if you can control a cursor, you can do anything. You want to turn on the lights, turn off the lights, right? Make a phone call, anything. And then that's called telepathy by Neuralink. And then Elon talked about today that the next thing they're working on is blind sight, which is allowing blind people to see. So if you are, this is just one of his 8 companies that he's running. So And so they're making major progress everywhere. This is yet another thing that everybody thought was impossible. Just right? Like nobody thought about what he's doing, which is, getting closer to the neurons, doing it in a safe way, and then being able to do human, superhuman things.
Amazing. Just amazing.
And an XAI open source Grok. So that means that they're just going to give that away. And that's to counter what OpenAI is doing, which is closed source and everybody's charging it for it and they're trying to control it. Boring Company, I didn't know this. They're about to start tunneling at Tesla's Giga Texas factory. They got their Perfoc 3 lined up in Texas, designed for rapid continuous mining, never stops, just continuously. And then X, tremendous amount of features that they keep updating every week. They launched audio and video calling for everyone in X and announced revenue sharing payments going to 150,000 creators to date. That's crazy. That's amazing. So those are the things that they've done.
All I can say is watch out YouTube.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Watch out YouTube. Yep. Gotcha. I mean, yeah, Elon was just on recently saying how, X has now become the everything app, meaning to say that it's not just about short form, it's long form text, it's long form videos, up to even 4 hours of videos. They're going to start making, job postings, career site. You can make money posting jobs. You can make money. You can find jobs through X. His visions, when he first says them, people can't understand them. And all of a sudden, they're here. They're here.
Amazing.
Maybe not all of a sudden. Some people think it takes too long, but they then become here.
Think about the amount of time that Twitter was around and the amount of functionality that they actually, and the number of people it took to produce that functionality. It is mind-boggling. And people just are not prepared to address that issue. With 3-4 times the number of people, they produced less than 10% of the functionality that Tesla produces in a given period of time. And anyway, people, it's just amazing to me. Just amazing.
All right. So, but getting back to the main topic, which is the next trillion-dollar public company that could become a trillion-dollar company is going to be Tesla. Tesla was a trillion-dollar company. Now they've fallen back to $600-700 billion. But I think he said a multi-trillion. I think he said $2 trillion company. FSD bots. How can you not think that they are going to become a trillion-dollar company?
Yeah, my only caution, there's no doubt in my mind. My only caution is timing.
Yeah.
I think I think 25 and the latter half of 25 too is when we will see, real realization of value. I hate talking about share price, and I don't watch the share price on a daily basis. And I fully expect there to be drama about the end of quarter and drama about the financial results for the first quarter. I fully expect that. But I am very, very, very bullish on the company. I mean, I don't think I've been as bullish on the company for a long time. And maybe it's just, having seen that rocket take off and understanding what they have accomplished. I mean, when you meet these youngsters, you walk around Starbase and you meet these youngsters, there are stars in their eyes. I'm telling you, you just see it. Yeah. Amazing. Just amazing.
I guess, when you say because you saw Starship, then you're applying that to Tesla. But then I realize that that's absolutely true, because if you take a look at all of his companies, you see a pattern. They are all, okay, the XAI just started. We don't know if they're going to be successful. We all know what Tesla's been able to accomplish. Yeah. You just talked about how incredible, what he changed the culture. He changed how quickly features are coming. It still hasn't proven it, as always, but you can see the progress. Of course, SpaceX, that's what you're talking about. Boring Company, I think it's still too early. He said that regulations from cities is what's the issue. But now Neuralink, again, one of those things that people thought was so, just so early stages. It's going to take decades. No, they've already, demoed it. It works. It works.
Yeah, you're going to
Um,
understand something about Elon, and you look at these companies. What you have to understand about Elon is that he has the patience of Job when he has a vision. He presses people incredibly hard on extremely short deadlines, but he is prepared to build a decade or multi-decade vision. And so you've got this tension between I want it yesterday, but I'm prepared to build over the next 20 years. And that's really something that people have a very hard time reconciling in their own minds.
that's a first time I've actually heard anybody say that. I like that a lot because it's true. I mean, it sounds obvious now that you said it. I'm sure somebody else has said it, but I'm glad that you did bring that up again. It is very interesting. It's like he works at he needs a state or urgency, right? You got to work fast. I want this to happen sooner. It's all about flipping the business model. He cares about expenses, right? Expense, cut. And yet he's also got the big, long strategic vision. And then they somehow, because he's put in so much thought on this and worked it out, they all come together. And we, as observers, find out later, oh, that's why he was working on this feature or that company and then this one. And then it all comes together later, right?
It's truly amazing, And I think that was the piece that wasn't as clear in Walter's book.
Mm.
I don't think Walter bought into the long-term vision. And the truth is that long-term vision has evolved over time. I mean, I was attracted to Elon. Of course, we have some common history. We don't have a common intelligence. The guy's, multiple of my intelligence, but we have this common history. And so I started reading, and love of language, by the way. He writes so beautifully, and I started reading his blog for SpaceX on those first few launches, the failed launches, and that's what attracted me to him. And I've seen the evolution of his thinking and followed that evolution on the written word. Unfortunately, what he's writing now has become somewhat institutionalized. So I'm looking at, the latest release, the transition to part 3, the transition to energy independence, and it's become somewhat institutionalized, but it retains the characteristics that he brings to the table. Short-term urgency, long-term vision. It's brilliant.
Love it. It is brilliant. Okay, and we're witnessing it as it happens. Tesla is going to be $1 trillion company. We'll do another show when that happens. A couple of years, maybe longer, but it's going to happen for sure. Thank you so much, Larry. Follow him on X at Tesla Larry. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.